Wobioha! From the studio in Nitro, West Virginia, this is Unreasonable Doubt. It's a podcast about West Virginia University basketball. I'm Josh Witt, and court storming is out. What's the big whoop? Old hat. The old Mountaineers beating the old Jayhawks in basketball. That's 3 in a row over Kansas. Third different head coach in those 3 straight wins. No matter how you slice it, it's 3 in a row. Kansas has not beat West Virginia in 3 calendar years. Today, double-digit win, 86-75. Ross Hodge and this Mountaineer team. There were plenty of firsts in the Cincinnati game and plenty of firsts today. West Virginia's first win over a ranked opponent. Will Kansas be ranked next week? It doesn't matter. They're ranked right now, and West Virginia, there was a number beside the Kansas, and West Virginia had more points at the end than the team with the number beside it. That's how it works. West Virginia's first win where the opponent scored more than 70. So that's nice. West Virginia is now 1-5 in games where the opponent scored 70 points. West Virginia's first win this season where they were trailing at the half. And speaking of first, a personal first for me, first time during and after the game where I felt pure joy this season. I love basketball. I love watching West Virginia University basketball. And there are games and feelings after games where I would describe it as pure joy. Like no notes, no the Cincinnati game, not a ton of warm and fuzzies, all the warm and fuzzies after this game. And it's one game, plenty of basketball to be played, 2 more months of basketball, but that felt great. And that second half played by WVU against Kansas was the best 20 minutes by a long shot West Virginia's had all season. Now, is there a very small chance that I'm going to eat my words? And is Kansas that good? And did Kansas get 3 points from their bench? And they're not a deep team? And could they be top half of the Big 12, but closer to the middle than the top? Maybe. It doesn't matter. To me, pure joy. They outscored Kansas, who is not bad at basketball. They outscored Kansas 47-32 in the second half. And that included a 16-0 run in the middle of that second half. West Virginia was down 8. West Virginia played good offensively in the first half. Brennan Lorient had an amazing first half. West Virginia was losing. It was 44-39? No, 43-39. And when you hear those numbers and you think of this season's WVU basketball team, you say that's not a good score for WVU. Great that they have one of those scores. It doesn't, even if they had 44. The other team has 39. Quick math, 39 times 2 over 70 problem. But West Virginia was down 8, and then 16 points later, they're winning by 8. And who spurred the 16-0 run? It was spurred by 2 guys that did not score a single point in the last game. Every Mountaineer that got on the court today scored. Every Mountaineer that got on the court today shot the basketball. But 2 guys didn't score a point last game. They were starters. The third guy I mentioned, Lorient, he only had 2 in the last game. But the run was started with an Harlan Obioha and 1. And my guy, Harlan, I mean, King McClure, he's out there saying Obiaho. LaFonso Ellis did not watch that tape, so he went a different way. He's adding an A instead of an O. he went Obiaha. I mean, and the play-by-play guy is getting it right. And it's actually what LaFonso Ellis is doing is more egregious because he's taking the O. The King is just flipping the letters. Ellis is taking the O, erasing it, and putting it an A. Obiaha did it many times. Regardless of how the man's name's getting pronounced, he had a bad game against Cincinnati, and he had a great game today, especially in that second half. 6 points in that 16-0 run. He blocked Badunga at the rim. Candidly, I was nervous with the way Obiaha has looked, how he's going to play against Badunga. He hung tight with that guy. He smacked the ball hard off the rim on a missed shot during that run that found Brennan Lorient, who passed it back out to the other guy that didn't score Tuesday for a three. We'll get to that guy in a second. Double-double for Harlan, his second double-double of the season, and one of them is against Kansas. So is the Pat Sumnick experience 2 years ago equal to the Obiaha experience today? No, Sumnick is in a class by itself. in the season from you know where. That's a top tier. We'll always have the Pat Sumnick game. This is not the Obiaha game, but it is very good to see that guy do that. He's from Kansas to do that against the Jayhawks. So shout out to Harlan. And the guy that made that three was a guy who not only didn't score in the last game, didn't take a shot. Jasper Floyd, and it wasn't looking good in this game, right? 2 fouls, quick, sat for most of the first half. So he's going on 3 straight halves of basketball where not only didn't score, Jasper didn't attempt a shot. Comes out in the second half, 3rd foul in the first minute. You can't make it up. Ross Hodge does not sit Jasper Floyd. He stays in the game, gets pulled a few minutes later, comes back in, and after the Obiaha and one, Ross Hodge calls the clear out and let Jasper back down his opponent play. The Jasper ISO, lots of dribbling one-on-one. Candidly, was not excited to see that. And that's why we're not basketball coaches. Because and Ross Hodge is. Brendan Lorient, as I mentioned, great first half. He finished with 18 points, 6 assists. Maybe he should get the ball if I'm a coach. Eaglestaff had just made a couple of threes earlier in the second half. Maybe give him another chance to create. He created that Obiaha and one. Honor Huff, who's awesome, and we'll talk more about him in a second. Lots of viable options for on-the-couch basketball coach Josh Witt that I would go to instead of, the guy who hasn't shot the ball in 60 minutes of gameplay. Let's clear out and let him back down his guy. But that's the play. Jasper got to the paint, scored. All right. He's the coach. Ross Hodge is the coach. Next WVU possession, they run it again. They're on the right side, the back down, no double team is coming. He gets to the paint again, scores, this time gets fouled. Great angry reaction from the Jayhawk he scored over. And Jasper Floyd, 4 of 4 from the field today. So in 3 halves, 0 for 0. The second half of the Kansas game, 4 for 4, including that big 3. And he played a lot in the second half, and West Virginia had their best second half of the season and best half of the season. So great to see him and Harlan rebound from Tuesday night. And my man Harlan, he's got to go over. The play-by-play crew is right there by the court, right? And I know in warm-ups, you're at half court, you're close to those guys. He doesn't have to do this, but maybe sneak over, say, hey, my name is Harlan Obioha. I'll write it down for you phonetically. I'll say it, and then you repeat it after me. Just get these guys on board, or go the opposite way, in that you still go over and talk to the guys, but you just find each game a different way for them to pronounce your name. And only speak to the color commentator, because with the play-by-play guys, they're fine. The color commentator, that's where you got to either set them straight or plant the seed, so it's like an Easter egg for each WVU game. Every time we watch, we get to hear a different pronunciation of Harlan Obioha's name. Pick one. I'm good with either one. And as good as everyone was today, and again, everybody had positive contributions to the win that played. The guy, let's say West Virginia, you ask me, who's the guy on this team? The guy on this team is Honor Huff. And what Hodge was doing with Huff today, and Hodge is trying to get Huff shots. And Huff is running sideline to sideline, running off of screens, trying to get an open look. And what he had him doing today, and there's at least 3 plays and possibly more, where when Huff is running from one sideline to the other, instead of just trying to run over and come off a screen, he sets a cross screen for a big guy, and that leads to a basket. And it happened once in the first half, and it happened twice in the second half. Easy baskets for the big guys at the rim. And Honor Huff, how do you want him to make a 3? Leave him wide open? He'll make that. One guy draped on him? He'll make it. 2 guys covering him? Sure, he'll shoot it over both of them. Get switched on a big, he'll shoot it over him. You want to foul him when he shoots a 3? He'll make that too. How many and 1 threes has Honor Huff made? We're halfway through the season, and he's hit so many and 1 threes. It's impressive. And he comes from Chattanooga. Last year, he shot 41% on the season from 3. And of course, you look at that and you say, all right, you're stepping up the Big 12 play. Probably won't shoot 41% from 3, with no disrespect to Honor Huff. You're stepping up in play. Halfway through the season, 16 games in, what is Honor Huff shooting for 3? 41%. So he's kind of a big deal. 4 of 11 today, but not only making shots and icing the game with free throws, you have to pay attention to the guy. And when you're paying so much attention to that guy, then he can do some things that you're not expecting to help other guys get easy baskets. It's awesome to see. Have you ever searched yourself online? I've done it. I haven't liked what I've seen. The results could be surprising and sometimes unsettling. Your phone number, your home address, even details about your family are out there, whether you agree to it or not. That's because data brokers are collecting and selling your information to marketers, scammers, and basically anyone willing to pay. Aura fights back. They remove your personal data from broker sites and keep it off. Aura also alerts you fast if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. And if your identity is ever stolen, you are backed by up to $5 million in insurance and 24/7 US-based fraud support to help you recover quickly. Right now, you can try Aura free for 14 days when you visit aura.com/remove. That is enough time for Aura to start removing your personal information from data broker sites. Sign up today at aura.com/remove and get the peace of mind that your privacy, identity, and finances are safeguarded. That's aura.com/remove. Certain terms apply. See the site for details. West Virginia now with a winning record in the Big 12. They follow up their best win of the season Tuesday with an even better win today. Ranked opponent. And there's still more firsts on the table. West Virginia is not one outside of Morgantown. They play plenty of games outside of Morgantown for the rest of the season. There's other firsts out there. Was it all sunshine and rainbows today? It was not. lots of turnovers, too many turnovers. The defense in the first half, not great. But if they can have more halves of basketball that come close, they're not going to have a ton of these for the rest of the year at that level. Can you get close to that? If they can, and everybody's contributing, then that raises the ceiling for this team. And let's be clear, you can't go back and redo the out-of-conference schedule. That is what it is. You don't have a great resume there. So the resume building has to be in conference. And what can that resume get you at this point? They have a chance to play postseason games somewhere after the Big 12 tournament. And the more they win, the better the ceiling looks. That's just common sense. But I love having pure joy. That's a hot take. And today, after that game, pure joy watching that second half. Random thoughts of this episode of Unreasonable Doubt. You ever wonder how some of the coaches over the last 2 coaching searches for WVU are doing? No, I'm not asking out of buyer's remorse. Ross Hodge had his best win at WVU today. And I think he's going to be at WVU. I'm not jinxing anything. I think Ross Hodge will be at West Virginia more than one season. And best win of the year. But, it's just like hey, did everybody land on their feet? How's everybody doing? The guys that were on the hot board, that were on the list, what's everybody up to? So it'd be nice halfway through the season. Let's see what's going on. I haven't paid a ton of attention. So let's see here. Nico Medved, he was on the list. I think he got an interview this last offseason. He ended up going to Minnesota after being in the mix. Let's see, how's he doing? Okay, 10-6 at Minnesota. Not a basketball school, but that's okay. It's year 1. Good for him, Good for Nico. Good for Coach Medved. I'm sure he'll do fine there at Minnesota. That's a uphill climb, but you're in the Big Ten. You're at your alma mater. He'll be fine. Richard Pitino, Steve Forbes. Those were guys that were in the mix last offseason. Let's see what their record are. Oh, look at that. They're both 10-7. So that's okay. Yes, each of them have wins over West Virginia. So that's interesting. But that's what's going on with them. Shaheen Holloway. Now, that's a guy that was high on my list in both cycles. He was on the hot board 2 seasons ago and then last season. Let's see. What's Holloway up to? He's still at Seton Hall. Oh, look at this. 14-2. Top 10 Ken Pom defense. Oh, well, good for Coach Holloway. Good for him. I'm happy to hear that for Coach Holloway. Who else? Oh, Josh Schertz. Josh Schertz was in the mix, especially with the last guy got hired. I think Schertz got an interview that cycle. He's in his second season at St. Louis. I think the big guy with the goggles is a senior and still with him there. Let's see. Oh, wow. 15-1. Huh. Well, isn't that great? Good for Josh Schertz. 15-1. That's really good. You know what? Good for him. Glad to hear it's working out for Schertz. Who else? Oh, you know who? I wonder how Jared Calhoun is doing. Now, Calhoun was on Huggins' staff back in the day, got an interview this cycle. He was at Utah State. Then he got an extension at Utah State. But, man, that defense was pretty rough in the Ken Pomeroy computer last year. How's he do? Oh, wow. He's 13-1. Huh. That's really good. And but the defensive looks like the defense has jumped like 110 spots. and I see Utah State in the Ken Pom defensive rating before I see WVU. You know what? Good for Coach Calhoun. Happy that it's working out for him. He got an extension. It seems like Utah's suiting Jared Calhoun well. Good for that guy. Ben McCollum, he coached. He had the connection to Ren Baker. He was in the mix before the Iowa job came open, and he took that, got to stay home. How's Ben McCollum doing? Oh, wow. 12-3. Top 20. AP poll. Huh. He's in the Big Ten, too. Oh, that's, wow. Well, you know what? Good for Coach McCollum. I understand wanting to stay home, be it in the state that you love. I've done that all of my life. Good for Ben McCollum. Good. That's great to hear. And then the big name 2 seasons ago was Mark Byington, who coached at James Madison. He's in his second season at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt hit or miss. They're getting it going in football. They've had moments in basketball. I wonder how Byington is doing. What's Vandy up to? Oh, wow. Undefeated. 16-0. Wow. You can't do better than that. Number 5 in the Ken Pom. That's awesome, dude. You know what? That's great for Coach Byington. I'm glad it's working out at Vanderbilt for Byington. And, well, I think this was a good activity. I'm excited for Coach Hodge. Ton of good candidates for Ren Baker to choose from. And you know what? It looks like everybody won. Everyone's doing just fine. And you know what? That's great. Unreasonable Doubt is under the Smoking Musket umbrella. Go to smokingmusket.com. Read posts about WVU sports, daily throwdown. Check that out. Go to the Discord. We're talking about WVU sports and other stuff on the Smoking Musket Discord. Link for that is in the show notes. Listen to West by Pod, the WVU football podcast under the Smoking Musket umbrella. Do all that stuff. Smoking Musket. The next game for WVU, let's call this next game the record scratch. The music's going really good. It's your favorite song. And then somebody pulls the plug from the record player. Or somebody bumps into the console. It's record scratch time. It's the reality check. The come down, if you will. That's coming Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m., Fox Sports 1. Just what a time to be alive where West Virginia plays game on broadcast networks and cable networks. FS1, 8:30, West Virginia goes to Houston to play the Cougars, and they are the Terminator. They are always good at basketball in recent history. Really good. And unlike the 3-game winning streak West Virginia has against the Jayhawks, the opposite is true in West Virginia's dealings with Houston since they joined the Big 12. West Virginia is defeated. They've lost their last 3 against Houston. West Virginia's had the pleasure of playing Houston 3 times in 2 seasons. And West Virginia's losses to Houston have been by an average of 21 points. And for this WVU team, it'll be their 4th straight opponent with a Ken Pom top 10 defense. Now, West Virginia, against a top 10 Ken Pom defense, scored 47 in the second half today. But it's at Houston. And Houston's the Terminator. And it doesn't matter who's playing for them. They went to Waco today, and they beat the brakes off of Baylor. And this is supposed to be a rebuild season. Sampson is playing 4 freshmen in the rotation, but they're all really good. And one's really good. his name is Kingston Flemings. And they're technically young, and they play a lot of freshmen, but they're freshmen who play for Houston, and they don't have just freshmen. They've got JoJo Tugler with the amazing sideburns. They got Uzan, they got Sharp, and those guys played in the national championship game last year. And Houston, a young Houston, a rebuild year Houston, they're just 15-1 and 3-0 in the Big 12. And this is their third season in the Big 12. The first two seasons ended with 2 regular season championships. They ended last season with the Big 12 tournament championship. West Virginia will be double-digit underdogs to the Cougars, and they will most likely lose this game, respectfully. The good news is that it's another rip the Band-Aid off. West Virginia went to Ames, took their beating, came back, don't have to play Iowa State again in the regular season. Same with Houston. Had to play them twice last year. Blessed to only play them once, and you're getting it done now. So it's the 4th game of an 18-game Big 12 schedule, and you've gotten Houston out of the way, you've gotten Kansas out of the way, and you've gotten Iowa State out of the way. So that is technically a win. There's still tough games coming. There's an Arizona trip in the near future where you got to play an Arizona team who might be better than a team I'm describing as the Terminator, and a team that casually beat you by 20 plus, and a team coached by Bill Self. Like, that's on the way, but that I'll tell you when that happens. That's good news, to get it out of the way early and not play them again. And Houston's important to get out of the way because and to play Houston because Ross Hodge, in his introductory press conference day and early on, he's saying, I want to mirror our image after what Houston is doing. And so here's a reflection point. You get to play the team you want to mirror your program after in a year where I'm going to say this out loud, where they are probably not as good as last year, but they're still really, really good. And I've already told you it's going to be a problem Tuesday night. But you get to check in year 1 and say, how do we look compared to what we want to look like? And it's probably going to be Funhouse Mirror on Tuesday night, but you get a chance to look. What will the reflection look like Tuesday night? We'll find out. That's it for this episode of Unreasonable Doubt. Listen on all the platforms, or just pick one. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Overcast Podcasts, YouTube. Until next time, I'm Josh Witt. WVU, for the 2025-2026 season, they have 11 wins and they have 5 losses.